I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll have the roll call by the superintendent, the reading of school board prayer by Mr. Jack Washington, and leading of pledge allegiance by Ms. Andrea Barris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Lewis,
Here.
Mr. Meyer,
Here.
Mrs. Barra, Ms. Fletcher Mickens,
Here.
Mr. Hebert,
Here.
Mr. Washington,
Here.
Mrs. Hood,
Here.
Mrs. Arso, Mrs. Duga. Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you.
Gracious Father, we thank you once again for God allowing us to assemble ourselves here tonight. We ask your blessings upon everyone that is here. And God, we pray that you would be with us as we go through this meeting. Father, we pray the blessing upon every child that is represented here tonight. And God, we thank you for all that you've done in their lives and ask that, God, you would do more for them than we're even able to ask. We ask tonight, God, for your guidance, your wisdom, and support, and that, God, you would help us to engage in meaningful discussion that will benefit all of our students, all of our parish, all of our faculty, and all of our administrators. We pray, God, that you continue to be with this board, that we would continue to be together and stay together, God, and all of us head in the right direction. We thank you for what you've done for us already, God. We thank you for what you're doing, and God, we're going to thank you even for what you're going to do. And we give you the praise, the glory, and all of the honor. In Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need a motion to adopt the consent agenda. So I'll move Ms. Dodd.
Second.
Second by Mr. Abe. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. I need a motion to approve the minutes of March 15, 2023 school board meeting.
Second.
Move Ms. Cooney. Second by Mr. Washington. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make an agenda adjustment here. And we have the pleasure of having Judge Weimer with us today, and he's pressed for time. So we're going to go ahead and move 7A up, and he's going to speak on behalf of Tim Barbier involving the reconstruction of our basketball court.
I have my posse with me, but I assured one of them she's not going to be obligated to speak. I'm John Weimer, and it is a wonderful honor to stand before you. I see so many old friends, but maybe I should say not old friends.
Just press the button.
I should say friends that I have known for a long time instead of old friends, right? It's good to see that as much as things change, some things remain the same. 21 years ago, when I sought this position on the Supreme Court that I currently hold, two of y'all were on the school board then and are still there. And Mr. Bartholomew, I got to know your dad, and we discussed this last night when I ran 21 years ago, and he was very instrumental in helping me along with his good friend, Dr. Stuart Gould. If he is anything like his father, and I am convinced that he is, you'll have an outstanding superintendent. And I appreciate the opportunity to say that. Since then, 21 years ago, no one from Assumption has voted against me when I ran for re-election in Assumption Parish. And the reason for that is because no one ever ran against me since I got elected. I'd like to think that I was doing a good job, and I'm looking at my old classmate over there. But that's just what I'd like to think. What I know is that nobody else wants the job. There's some people who would like the title, but I don't think they want the job. And I commend you for the job that you are doing as a school board here. First of all, I have an invitation. when I became the Chief Justice on the Louisiana Supreme Court, the very first thing I did, because in a prior career I was a teacher of law and ethics at Harvard. I don't know if everybody knows that. That's, of course, Harvard on the Bayou, Nichols State University in Thibodeau. I taught law and ethics for 16 years, and the very first thing I did was invite all of the judges to join me in going into the classrooms and going into and inviting students into the courtrooms to teach our young people about the consequences of inappropriate behavior, about respect for themselves and the law, and about how important civics is to this nation's future. And the judges have embraced this, and last year, when finally COVID got out of the way a little bit, I was mentioning to the president, my former classmate, over 100 judges visited 11,500 students that we can document, which is a remarkable accomplishment. And I'd like to extend a personal invitation, and the superintendent and I spoke about this last night, to have students from Assumption join us at the Supreme Court building. We can work out all the details. May is Law Month, and any time between now and the end of school, we would provide a really magnificent opportunity to see a historic building in an iconic neighborhood in the middle of the French Quarter, which houses not only the Supreme Court building, but a library and the Louisiana Museum that we have there also. And so I urge you, if y'all want to accompany those students, we would be glad to host you also.
Thank you, Judge.
To the other matter at hand. Tim Barbier and I met when we were in undergraduate school at the aforementioned Harvard. And let me introduce Kim Gobert and Terry Stewart. They are both dear friends of Tim, and so am I. He and I played, went to Nichols together, went to law school together, graduated, and then he began practicing here, and I began practicing in Thibodeau, and we've remained dear friends ever since. About 35 years ago, he invited me to play basketball with him at a gym in Thibodeau, and we continued playing once a week, sometimes twice a week when we came to Napoleonville. You joined us about 10 or 12 years into that, and we played until COVID hit, and unfortunately, we also lost Tim. His role in the community was remarkable. He touched so many people's lives in a very positive way. The schools wisely, in my estimation, gave him the keys to the gym. And he used that as a teacher and a mentor to an unbelievable number of young people for decade after decade after decade. I know he has contributed financial resources. He did a lot of things that we'll never, ever know about. He touched lives in such a positive way. And I know that there is a matter under consideration. I'll turn it over to Terry, and he's going to be the spokesperson. But thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you, and thank you for letting us be here today.
Thank you.
Judge.
Thank you.
And you can get my vote.
I haven't spoken in front of a crowd in a while, since 1985, so. I was a second lieutenant and graduated, well, not graduated, I attended Nichols State, and I got back here in 1985, and I worked at the sheriff's office. That's the first time I met Tim. And he was curious, hey, that guy's, I don't know him. So he started asking questions. Anyway, made a long story short, we became friends. Every Monday night we would play basketball together. Well, a lot of people don't know, I was there when he went through his divorce. I was there when his wife passed away. I was there when he met her. So I've been with him over 40 years. And we have secrets that we won't tell the community. Anyway, he would do things outside of Assumption High. If a kid was graduating and he played basketball, he was going to college, he would give him $500. Because you're going to need it. When you go to college, you're going to need some help. If a kid needed a job, and he said, Mr. Timmer, so-and-so is working, is hiring, Tim would make a phone call. I got this kid's coming over, he's looking for a job. That's the kind of thing he did away from the high school. If a kid got into trouble and he needed some advice, he would mentor, he would give him some advice. And you know, a lawyer charges about $100 an hour. He would tell him, come on to my office, and he would talk to him. You know, that's the kind of thing he did. Yeah. We got a little kid, he's probably in 9th grade right now. When COVID hit, we couldn't go in the gym anymore, so Tim decided to go play basketball on the outside court. And he met this little kid, and he said, they call me Juice. Everybody call me Juice. He said, Juice, man, I got this little kid. I need you to come check him out. So we go out and we start shooting on the outside court. And the kid wasn't doing too good in school, but he was a good basketball player. Every day, when the kid got out of school, he had to go to Tim's office, and they would do the homework. Not just him, also his brother. They would do the homework in the evening with him. I got to tell you the Jordan Mills story. Got to tell this. I got to tell it, and I won't be long. Johnny Mees was the first person from Assumption. We graduated together, and we played at Nichols together. He made the NFL. He played in the NFL for 10 years, and he scouted for the Titans for 15. So Tim called me and said, hey, Jordan's gone to the NFL Combine. I said, huh? He said, yeah, he got invited. Somebody got hurt. He said, I'll call Johnny. So I called Johnny. I said, Johnny, Jordan is coming to the NFL Combine. Johnny said, no, I got the list. His name not on it. I said, well, somebody got hurt, and he's coming. He said, well, I'm going to go find him. So he goes, he finds Jordan, and he says, Johnny Mees, Tennessee Titans, scout. And Jordan goes through the spiel, and Johnny kind of looks at him like, Johnny Mees, Labby DeVille. And then, you know, Jordan says, oh, okay. So, but that's the thing Tim would do. Regardless if the kid was in school or was out, if he could help a kid, he would do it. So my proposal is that I've got a few pictures of the gym. I mean, you can pass it around. And he left enough money in his estate to take care of this project. We're just trying to get the ball rolling, you know. So, yeah, you're just passing around. And basically, that's what we want to do, is put his name on the court. And I also have his high school jacket. I've had it at my house since he's passed. And that's another story of another day. But I have his jacket, I have it in a case, and we want to, you know, we want to put it in the banner. Because, like I said, he did a lot for the kids of Assumption Parish. And if he was here today, he'll still be doing it. And he's trying to do it, you know, through Kim. So that's all I have to say. I mean, you know, I know you have to vote on it and decide, but he was a great person. Mr. Washington could tell you, Mr. Lewis could tell you. If you came across Tim Barbier, you know he was a great person to be with. So if, I know you're busy, so if you have any questions to ask me or Kim.
Well, I see another one of Tim's close personal friends, Mr. Floyd Benoit. Would you like?
Floyd. That's right. Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can attest that I've been knowing Tim since he used to actually room with my uncle.
Okay.
So what you're saying is absolutely positively. It's probably more.
Oh,
He was one of the kindest, gentlest,
I mean,
and most honest men I knew.
that's right. I mean, the basketball team went to a playoff game. he would buy lunches for everybody, coaches, bus drivers, all the students. Yeah. Right. And I gotta tell you, Tim was a very tight person, trust me.
Tight but generous.
Yeah.
He also bought a lot of practice uniforms, I'm told, a lot of warm-ups, did a lot for the kids. Very generous person.
He went to every game.
Yes,
And it was like,
for years.
that free throws, it's like, hey, that night, okay, I'm going up in the gym tomorrow morning, let's go practice, you know. So that's, I was just looking for something to kind of keep his memory alive for what that he did, you know, all
Absolutely.
these years. So that's truly service and possible.
And I think you'll be stated, I think Tim was a representative for Assumption Parish and Assumption High, and
Definitely.
he was a country person. I
That's
mean, still played golf right there by his side.
That's all right.
And you know, if we keep going, we're gonna keep saying the same thing over and over.
Right.
If you admit to it. The only thing that y'all left was the boys was a pretty good basketball.
Well, yeah,
He was playing.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Washington, he could not jump.
And he wore sweatpants all the time.
Great set shot, great set shot.
Many numerous amount of times, it's pretty good basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he had me video him so he could watch it.
When he was younger.
So he can figure out when he's not doing it right. Like I have videos of that. So that was his love, his first love.
Oh, yeah.
Was basketball. So that's how it goes.
Well,
Yeah.
we thank y'all so much, and,
All right.
yes.
Y'all have a good day.
Thank y'all very much.
Juice, I'll be with you
you, Judge
every
Raymond.
morning. I never knew you to talk that much.
And if I had to vote, Doc, I probably would vote for you.
Mr. Superintendent, let me give you my email address, if I may.
I have your number, your cell number, so I will
Okay,
be in touch.
please.
Like I
And
said.
we would love to, and be honored to have some of the students from Assumption Parish come and learn about civics and all the things they need to know. But thank y'all so much. Y'all have been wonderful, and it's so good to see you.
Thank you, Judge Reamer.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Feel
your
very
time.
much at home here. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Justice.
Safe travels. Okay, under reports and recognition, receive administrative personnel report. Everybody has that in their folder. You can read it at your leisure. Item B, recognize and honor the 2022-2023 Labadie Middle School Support Person of the Year. Mr. Claymore?
Good evening, everyone. It's always nice to see we've got a big list of positive things about to pop up right behind me. Along with Mr. Barbier's donation of redoing the floor, that's going to be really a nice addition to that high school. But on my part, we're recognizing this month is we're almost done. We have one more high school. We have the high school left, and then we have some support people outside the district we're going to recognize also. But this year's 22-23 Labadie Middle Support Person that was presented by Mr. Corey Crochet's staff is Miss Haley Arthurmont.
Congratulations. I think that's a real good thing that Mr. Claymore and his staff started. It really sets people out, and I think it's going to help people to want to achieve more. Congratulations.
Yes.
Item B, I'm sorry. C, recognize and honor Ali Tremonte, Labadieville Middle School student, for placing first at the state beta convention in the 6th grade social studies testing.
Good evening.
So
I'll ask Ally to remain because I'll recognize the Beta students by school. Then we'll ask for a photo. And when I call the kid's name, I'll ask the families to stand when your child is called and then have a seat so we can see some of the support system that's giving us the results we see right now with our kids. So just recently, we had a large number of kids from Assumption Parish that attended the state Beta convention in Lafayette, Louisiana. Just to give you a little bit of background, it was at the Cajun Dome, and it was approximately 11,000 students. So if you are ever in the Cajun Dome during that time, just bring your earplugs because it's noisy. But it's a good noise, and it's the kind of noise we want to hear. This was on February 8th, 9th, and 10th. So these students that I am about to recognize, they placed at the state Beta convention, so they have the option, and they have the option of competing at the national level, which will be June 16th through 19th in Kentucky. So we want to congratulate all of our students. So again, first and foremost, we would like to honor Allie Tremont of Labadeville Middle School. She placed first at the State Beta Convention in 6th grade social studies. All right. Also representing Labadeville Middle School, we had Ashley Zavala, placed second at the State Beta Convention in 6th grade Spanish. Last but not least, representing Labadeville Middle School, we had Mia Aquino. She placed 5th at the State Beta Convention in 8th grade Spanish. So if we have any Beta sponsors from Labadeville Middle, I'll ask you to please come forward and take a seat. One's on vacation, another one had a
Doc, you want to speak to on their behalf?
Good evening. If I can take a step back and mention Ms. Haley, it takes a very special person to work with special needs children. Ms. Haley is an exemplary model of that person. She served in our resource room and took care of all of our severe and profound kids. And this year she's assigned one-on-one with a student. She has the patience of Job. And she does an excellent job caring and providing for all of the students. So she's very, very deserving of the recognition, and we are very fortunate to have her on our staff. So congratulations to Ms. Haley for that recognition. And what you see here is an example of what our students are capable of at Labadeville Middle. We're very proud of the work they did, and they did an outstanding job of representing what we're doing at Labadeville Middle. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, congratulations again. We also have a young lady representing Pierpont Elementary. She placed at our state Beta Convention. Congratulations to Presley Morales, who placed second in poetry. So congratulations to Presley. Representing Napoleonville Middle School, congratulations to Madeline Gregoire. Madeline placed 4th at the State Beta Convention, 7th grade student, and she placed in Performing Arts Solo. Congratulations also to Annabelle Blanchard, representing Napoleonville Middle School. She's an 8th grade student, and she placed 5th at the State Beta Convention in jewelry competition. We also at this time would like to recognize the entire Napoleonville Middle School Beta Club. They placed 4th at the state in apparel design for their t-shirt. So if we have any, I don't know if she nothing, but they placed for their design, t-shirt design. Is that your t-shirts? All right, very nice, very nice. So again, congratulations to these young ladies, job well done. You know, when you sit through a few expulsion hearings and when you see good kids making not so good choices, it's so refreshing to see good kids making a lot of good choices. So congratulations to your sponsors, your principals, and of course your families. Keep up the good work.
Mr. Buggins, before we come down for a photo op, I don't know, I know we gave Dr. Crochet an opportunity to speak. I know we have other principals in here. If you would like to speak on behalf of your sponsors or your school. Hold on, girls. Wait a minute, girls. Don't move yet. Don't move yet.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, congratulations to all of you for a job well done. You are a representation of your school, and you went out and represented them well at the State Beta Convention, so congratulations to you and your families for a job well done. Thank you to the sponsors who go with our students and help them get ready for the convention. It takes a lot of preparation and work and time, you know, to make sure that everything's in place for them. So we appreciate them, and we appreciate your families for their support.
And as Mr. Buggins mentioned, if you've never had the opportunity to attend State Beta Convention, it certainly is an event. In my years as a teacher, I was a Beta sponsor at the school where I taught, and that's probably some of my best memories of my teaching years, were those hours spent prepping for convention, the time spent at convention, the hours making sure that the kids were sleeping when they were supposed to be sleeping and not running in the hotels, and the time spent with those students. They put in a lot of time. You know, these kids, I'm sure, have a lot of other activities besides Beta. But I'm thankful that we've got a new set of sponsors this year. Ms. Shannonberg had done our Beta Club in Pierreport for a lot of years, and she passed the torch. I think it was hard for her, but we've got a new group that have come in, and they're working with the kids, and the kids are excited to be working on that, and we really tried to focus them on the academics and these types of things. I think we've had in the past Song Fest and those kinds of things, our clubs placing, but I'm very, very excited to see these academic competitions that we placed there. That's really been the push, I know, for us, and I'm very, very excited to see that we're having some of that. So congratulations, ladies. I guess we need to push those guys to step it up again a little.
Wrangle them in, get them in there.
Next year at convention. But, you know, good job. This is a good thing for you to experience. Hopefully some of you maybe get to go on to the national level and compete. Congratulations, congratulations.
Give Mr. President and myself again.
Last but not least, I would like to recognize two Assumption High School students for placing at the State Literary Rally, which was held on February 4th at LSU. We had over 5,000 students participating, so it was a big crowd and a stiff competition. But I would like to recognize these two students. Neither could make it. We had one young lady was working, and another young lady had another engagement. but we would definitely like to recognize Riley Watson. She's a junior at Assumption High School, and she placed first in nutrition and food, again, at the state literary rally. So let's give Riley a round of applause.
Mr. Clemo, how old do they have to be to work as a supervisor of child nutrition? I met her. She's a good kid, too.
And last but not least, another Assumption High Mustang. Congratulations to a 10th grader, Caitlin Allen. She placed third in business computer application at the state literary rally as well. So congratulations to all of our students.
I just want to say on behalf of the school board, Assumption Parish School System, congratulations to all of our winners. And also we want to say thank you, parents. And let me say this, don't forget, we have grandparents in here as well. So congratulations to the parents, the grandparents of those students, and continue to do well. You're representing your family and Assumption Parish well. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to reiterate that. It takes the parents, the grandparents, the teachers, the sponsors, takes a lot of people, but it also takes you guys to perform. So congratulations.
Congratulations. Especially my neighbor. Good job.
I'm honored. Good job.
All right. Item L, receive legislative educational update.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had the luxury to attend several meetings. Number one, and we have some board members that attended as well. We attended a class meeting, which is our local region, legislative breakfast. So we had an opportunity to visit with our state representatives, our legislators, our senators, as well as other school districts across the southern region. And they can speak to their experience, but it's always good to be a part of the decision-making process when it comes to what laws that are going to govern the educational system. So we had an opportunity to really hear a lot of good information, and also we had opportunity to interact with our lawmakers. So I don't know if Mr. Honore, Ms. Bambi, Mr. Josh, I don't know if you all want to kind of speak to that, but we definitely enjoyed our time with our other school districts, but also with our legislators.
Yeah, I mean, it was very interesting to see the different viewpoints, especially across parishes that operate differently than we do, have more industry, and we do more or less enrollment, and what goes on and how their opinions are matched from that information. How they, I think a lot of the things there were consensus on when we were there, but there were a few items where you could tell where more parishes are privileged because of the industry and the tax revenue, and they have a different outlook on things than we might, and other parishes like us might, because we have less funds coming in. So that was very interesting to hear that.
Absolutely. We did hear a lot of the same concerns that we have in our parish. It's across the board. It was a lot of good networking. It was nice to hear from other superintendents, you know, just really good networking, listening. Our legislators, you know, they asked us questions, the questions that we needed to tell them so they could ask, because they didn't know what questions to ask. So I thought it was very informative.
Again, just to piggyback on what's already been said, I've attended those for the last 6-7 years under previous two superintendents. And I'm gonna tell you, they bring wealth of information to the district. And I was just kind of disheartened that a lot of other school board members from around the area that wasn't there in attendance, you know. We was well represented here in Assumption, as we always been in the past. And the state representatives and our senators, again, they bring wealth of information. And I think, you know, for 2 hours, it's pretty fast paced, you know, but it's nice. It's good to hear from our legislators from Baton Rouge, and you know, it just gives you a sense of feeling to be that close to them and just see the things that affects public education, a lot of things that doesn't normally come down to the district, you know. So again, I thank you, Dr. B, for being there, and all the other superintendents from around the South Central area there. So again, thank you very much.
Definitely, I want to thank, and I know St. Charles Parish Superintendent and their board for hosting. So I really want to say thank you to them as well. So last but not least, I had an opportunity to visit with the Speaker of the House, Mr. Schexnayder. And we had a very informative conversation around education, what the future of education looks like in Louisiana. Right now, our state has a surplus, and they have some one-time funds. So I know if you're following along what's going on in state government right now, there's a lot of acts, a lot of people asking for, hey, we need this for our community, we need that. So there are going to be a lot of information, a lot of funding coming down to education, on the education side of things that we definitely want to make sure we tap into. And Mr. Claymore, we're going to speak to this a little bit later to y'all, but we just applied for a safety grant, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about securing our perimeters and as well as building out those single point entries into our buildings. But we did apply for another safety grant through the state this time. It's through the State Department that we're hoping that we could receive. But I'm very thankful for our House Speaker. Mr. Schexnayder is actually the Speaker of the House, and I was blown away by the amount of legislators going in and out of his office trying to get his ear just so they could move their bills. So very, very appreciative of that and very thankful to him for allowing me to be a part of that conversation. Mr. President?
Under policy and procedure, receive information on public records request procedures.
Good evening. This kind of came up in the last 2 weeks. Part of my responsibility, or myself and the CFO, is we always get public records requests, which is basically the open records law, which is when the public requests certain information, as long as we can provide it and we have access to it, we produce those documents and we send them out. Well, in the past 2 weeks, we've been flooded with tons and tons and tons of it. One specifically probably took myself and one person accounting 10 hours to do. So you do have in your policy, which we've before it was so sporadic that, you know, maybe it was 1 or 2 sheets here. It took maybe about 30 minutes to get one done. It was never a big deal, but we've had such a big influx. I kind of started doing some research on it. We still want to be extremely transparent. We still want to be extremely friendly with the public requesting it. So we're probably going to put something online that they can go and put in instead of just sending an email. But we have not been abiding by the policy we kind of written. So when you look at your policy, which I kind of have in your form, which is KB, it basically states we shall charge for some services that go on as far as producing and what it is. We've never had nothing written in procedure-wise, which I don't think needs to be approved by the board, but we want to make sure we inform what we're doing to y'all so y'all transparent when we come down and we start producing this. So I kind of did some research around the parishes. You can't overcharge anyone. There's usually kind of a standard minimum requirement. So basically, if you look at it, what we're going to request from now is when you request a public records request, every page that you want, whether it's electronic or things, cost you 25 cents. And I kind of added the last one we did, or last thing was probably about $150 we would have charged the person for it. That's how much time we put into doing just one request last week, and I had multiple ones. So I don't have a problem. I think we should follow the law. I think it should be something, but we should have a standard that if you want something, there's a very minimal charge on your side, because if not, they're going to keep coming back with information, which is perfectly fine. We're more than willing to produce anything we want to produce. We want to make sure that when we put this on the site, y'all understand why we're putting it. It's really just to produce the information they will request at a very minimal price. Any questions on that?
Yeah, why do you think is an increase, such a great increase?
Well, an influx of it? I have no idea, to be honest with you. It could be somebody searching for something. It could be just that time of the year that something's going on. I really don't know. I mean, it's random requests. Sometimes it's from about construction projects. Sometimes it's about X. I mean, it could be anything. It could be about salaries. I mean, that's usually the most common one, which is really easy to produce. So that one I could reduce in 2 seconds, but there's some stuff, when they give you a list of 12 items they need to produce, and it's gotta be 5 years back, that is where the problem's in our office, because we don't have the personnel to do it. So it just causes some time restraints. So we're just trying to get back a small compensation of time for what we're producing. And if you think about it, 10 hours for what I would say maybe $100, that's really nothing. if you
Yeah.
think about it.
It's pretty
And it-
standard, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
it's pretty
minimal
standard.
cost for anybody who's requesting.
Usually
But again,
it's-
if it's just, there will be just a simple charge that goes on there, like I said, it's $25 a sheet. I don't have to mail it, I don't have to charge them, we can still do it electronically, we'll give them all the options that they choose to be friendly.
It's mostly businesses or what?
Say it again?
It's been mostly businesses or what?
It comes from anybody. The public request can come from, it can come from businesses, individuals. It's got to be someone who's 18 years or older. But again, they're going to have to give us data because now we're going to have to request them to reimburse us for some of the cost that comes with this.
Usually it's like public entities, it's legislative session. When
Yes.
people are
So
looking at budgets.
I think
and-
that's really why it's
Yeah,
probably picking up
you get
right
more
now.
inquiries during those
So,
times.
but again, it is starting to get to be cumbersome, but once we set this, we're gonna set it for everybody, we're gonna hold to this standard at that point.
Thank you. All right, item B, authorize the superintendent to advertise for the official journal for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. I need a motion.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Washington. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Under budget, authorize the superintendent to advertise for food, paper goods, cleaning supplies, chemicals, and milk for the period of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. Need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Byers, second by Ms. Cooney. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item C, approve the addition of Darrell P. Daigle as authorized signatory to the I moved fast.
B.
Who receive information of cost of living adjustment and quality improvement grant.
Good evening. This is for information only. At the next scheduled meeting, this will be an action item for your approval. The Head Start, Assumption Head Start, received an allocation of what's considered COLA, cost of living adjustment. Of that, we are budgeting an increase of $58,780 to offset cost of living. This will be for 23 staff members, and it'll be added to their regular scheduled pay step and one-time stipends. Along with that, $8,475 will be put into the related payroll benefits, Medicare and teachers' retirement. There is another allocation that is called quality improvement, and that amount is for $28,868. And that will be put towards a service provider to provide professional development customized for the program for the staff.
That's coming from the grant? Coming from the grant funds, correct? Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And COLA is always, it's embedded into the allocation of the coming year. So in other words, it's permanent. And hopefully when you receive another one, you're keeping pace with the inflation or the cost of doing business.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Darrell. All right, item C, approve the addition of Darrell P. Daigle as authorized signatory to the Argent Investment Account. Need a motion? Ms. Cooney, second by Ms. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing Darrell Daigle, Chief Financial Officer, to execute any and all documents required to establish the deposit accounts and make changes to authorized signers of the accounts at First American Bank and Trust in the name of Assumption Parish School Board with subtitles and request, and execute any documents necessary to enroll ancillary account services offered by First American Bank and Trust. Need a motion?
So moved.
It's a mouthful. Motion by Mr. Abad, second by Ms. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
E, authorize the superintendent to solicit requests for proposals for a workforce specialist. Need a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lewis, second by Ms. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Item F, receive information on adopting current millage rates.
This is the time of year that we bring this to the board annually. It coincides with the budget, the production of a budget and the adoption. Our current millages are at their levied maximum, but we ask, we come before the board each year that you renew that, levy that millage. It's a renewal. This is not a new tax. It's not gonna be added anything more to the assessed value of what your taxpayers pay. So this is an information item. We'll ask you at the next meeting to take action on this. No advertisement is required other than we give 24 hours notice, post it on the buildings, and we'll also put it on the website for a couple of weeks.
Mr. Darrell, I have one question while you're up.
Sure.
The report that we have like this, is it possible to put GL codes underneath there on what it's coded to? I know it's gonna be more paper, but like each vendor item on here, can you put where the money is coded to that we paid to them? Is that possible?
We can figure something out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it also depends, what it was spent on. I can come up with something
Yeah.
and then possibly give you a legend on the backside to say whether it was a contracted service or this was a material and supply
Yeah.
or labor, you know,
Yeah.
things like that, because the coding starts to get very specific when you break it down. But I'll take note of that. That will be easy to do.
Well, I think the problem we're gonna run into, let's say, for instance, if we spend, I don't know, $100,000 with a specific company. If that company did 5 projects, one of those projects might be general fund. One of those projects might be federal funds. One of those projects might be donations. So I think that's where you run into the problem of breaking it down, because that one company may show 100,000, but we may be paying them out of 4 or 5 different funding sources.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the expense jail, not where the funds came from. So if we spend it on maintenance, if we spend it on.
We can work on it.
Yeah,
Sometimes though, there may be multiple layers in there. One contractor might be performing labor and materials and supplies, so it can start to get a little thick there also, but can look at it and see what we can do.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's all. Just look at it.
Take it down.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Under Facilities and Grounds, receive information, I'm sorry, let's move to B. Authorize the superintendent to acquire mechanical engineering services.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Lewis.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I just want the board to know, last board meeting, we talked about making sure that we look at our facilities so we can upgrade. So this particular service is for our HVAC system, okay? So, for example, I know we're starting, and Dwayne is going to, for our construction committee meeting, we're going to talk a little bit more about planning out. So we're going to definitely make sure we have to have the certified people in here to give us the right plans so we can move forward and make sure that we upgrade out, and probably more not just upgrade, but new. Everything will be new, not just repairing and from a maintenance standpoint. So I just want the board to know that is for HVAC systems.
Item C, authorize the superintendent to schedule a construction committee meeting on April 19th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Moved by Ms. Dodds, second by Ms. Cooney. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. D, receive update on securing the perimeter of schools and single point entries. Mr. Superintendent?
So a while back, I approached the board and I said, hey, give me the authority to go out and try to figure out how we can secure our facilities from a perimeter standpoint, but also from building a single point entry. So I did that, and I also went out and visited other schools, and Mr. Claymore went and visited other schools. I saw videos and photos. So at this time, I have Mr. Stephen here. He's going to talk a little bit more about what he can service, what services he can provide to us in helping us get this work done. So Mr. Stephen, if you don't mind coming up.
Thanks, Dr. Bartholomew. Stephen Viggory, Duplantis Design Group. We've done these types of projects for Lafourche Parish School Board. The last project we did was at Thibodeau High School, and there's two main components that we addressed. You can go a lot further, but it gets way more expensive. So the main two things we would address would be perimeter fencing, to fence the entire school, and a single point entry that would have a place with a secured lobby, and then somebody would have to be buzzed in to get on campus. There's probably typically a secondary, especially at the high school, a student entrance where they would have badges, and from the student parking lot, they would be able to enter from a second point as well. But I guess the way these services go is we need to learn the lay of the land. So we have to go visit the schools, we meet with the administration, and from there, then I would get with Dwayne and try and get some existing drawings of what you guys have. We had computerized those things, and then from there, make some recommendations on where we can place fences, where we can take some space and renovate and add some single point entries to create the secure environment that you guys are looking for. So this first phase is an hourly contract for us to look at 3 schools: Assumption High School, Napoleonville Primary, and Napoleonville Middle. And then once we come up with a fence layout and a floor plan of what the changes are, we would come back to you guys with a budget for each location. And then as funds present themselves, we would go out to bid with these projects. And if there's more funding available, then we would start taking other schools off the list in whatever hierarchy that you guys determine and go through the same process.
Stephen, I would like to extend that into our other schools as well. Because basically what we're saying is you're going to present that product, and then the board, we're going to come together and say, okay, we're going to prioritize what needs to be done year 1, year 2, year 3, so on and so forth. So I would definitely like to extend that and go out into all of the schools.
So our services right now, it's a $25,000 cap hourly. So we'll start visiting schools, and we'll do as much as we can within that contract, and then we'll adjust from there if there's more schools that we still need to go evaluate.
Okay.
No, we're going to work hourly until that cap. And if there's more that would need to be done, then we would come back to you guys and ask for additional services. So we're not agreeing to go evaluate all 10 schools for $25,000.
Yeah.
What are you, based on your professional opinion, how many schools you think you can do for $25,000?
Probably 3 or 4 is my guess. And look, it depends on the information available. If Dwayne has good plans and we don't have to recreate a lot of things and we can use the information that you already have, then it cuts down on the amount of hours. So one school may be very easy to go do, while a location like Assumption High School is probably going to be pretty complicated.
Because of their work in doing things like this, the services that they provided in Thibodeau, we did have another company that worked with us previously, but that company was outside, I want to say Mississippi, Shannon, I think it was Mississippi, that actually did that type of work before. So if the board would like for me to kind of expend, some more time and kind of like seeing if there's other companies out there, I'm more than happy to do that. But I definitely know that Mr. Stephen and his company did do some of this work previously, so that's the reason why he's here today.
Yeah, and look, and I guess this is just the front end information, so it's really not a tremendous amount of money relative to what the return is going to be. Because once we do the assessment, then we would tell you what that potential project would cost, and then the design fees associated with that would be established at a later date. So you're not committing to a whole bunch by going through this exercise. But that's entirely up to you guys.
Yep. And we do have some grants coming up from federal and state level that are specific for perimeter secure and single point entries. Is that what we talked about
Yes,
a couple of weeks ago too? So
yeah, we applied.
Yeah.
Okay. We applied for one.
Yeah.
Yeah, any other questions? Okay, so I think that covered D, E, and F. So under F, approved Duplantis Design Group.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Approve Duplantis Design Group to conduct a safety assessment at Assumption High School, Napoleonville Middle School, and Napoleonville Primary School. I need a motion.
So moved.
Move on, stay back.
No, I want to do all the schools. We need information on every school.
These three.
Okay, so we're gonna, do we want,
No, but if,
It's just
Yeah,
these
yeah.
three schools we're gonna start.
Start with these three.
so we wanna make a
yeah,
amendment to that?
the idea here is, the thinking is, we have the high school as our main facility, and we want to start with these other two schools, just to kind of see what product he would provide to us, and then branch out and see if we wanted to go
As an
and,
example.
and use him moving forward, his company.
Because the schools are set up differently, so it should be, it's gonna be different work. I think he's moving.
It's a unique solution in every school. It's gonna take a little time.
So,
Oh, so obviously the high school, right? I mean, that's, so when you look at Napoleonville Middle and look at Napoleonville Primary, because of the prison. There's no other reason. We have people, yeah, that's the only other reason.
okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna stick with these three schools as an example and then proceed further after.
Yes, sir. Because we have to secure all of our facilities. This is not no way, shape under the sun that we're
Stop.
done
Yeah.
when we look at these plans, so.
Well, look, I guess the other thing too is that it's not a cheap undertaking. So depending on how much money that you guys can come up with, you're probably talking about $750,000 to $1 million per school is what it takes.
I don't think we put a price tag on the kids, so.
Oh, I
Yeah.
fully
No,
understand, but I'm
yeah.
just saying.
No, I'm not saying,
I
I'm
know
just
a
saying
lot
on
of-
behalf
I know
of the
a lot
board.
of times school systems have trouble on the funding side. So while the funding's being rounded up, we can kind of prioritize these as we've kind of already done
Understand.
and be designing while funding is being secured for the
Yes, sir.
additional campuses.
Yeah. And this may, we'll decide on, as a board, but it may be a multi-year thing, it's.
Correct.
We may,
That's what-
we may
that's
not
what
be able
I'm
to do
getting
this
at.
all
You may
in
have
one
to
year.
go over multiple years budget-wise.
Yeah.
And I think we just need to get a starting point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Start rolling the ball. So I have a motion by Mr. Abear, we have a second. Second by Mr. Lewis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Very good.
I want one more thing, right?
Okay, under comments and announcements, Mr. Superintendent.
I would like to also note that we are looking at keyless entry. So we're going to bring back to the board, I want to say maybe in a couple weeks. We already have an estimate previously, but that estimate was done in July of last year. So we want to give the board more current information. So if we can, I'm going to let you, hold on. If we can, this is another layer. Remember, I always say that school safety is no one single approach. This is a multi-layer approach. So another layer to this is if we can create entries into our building where they have to scan their badges to get in, then I think that's another layer of support or security that we can provide for our students and our faculties. So Mr. Clement, if you want to
Yeah,
speak to that.
back in July, if you remember, we came back with Mr. Nanaka and Josh, they came in, and we did walk just the high school by itself and checked it, and we walked every door, whatever else that went through. But what we're trying to do is get updated pricing, so when this comes across, which is through the planners group, we also can bring that, because right now, we priced it like there was no fencing, if that makes sense to you. So the price for just the high school was almost $90,000, just for keyless entries, do just the high school. But if you start hardening the perimeter, I don't need to put that many scan in and scan out doors. So we don't want to go and spend $90,000, we harden the perimeter, and then we're really just wasting our weight. So we're trying to do it all in kind of one kind of, it's not going to be one project, but one on top of another, where we kind of maximizing our process. But we did request updated pricing for y'all. We can do some, even with the updated pricing, we know like some of the front doors, we might be able to get it done in some of the other schools that don't have the fencing in the beginning, and do the doors where the other ones stay locked, and that way we can at least harden some of the outside schools that don't have the fencing first, but minimize that kind of stuff. So that could all be in the works at the same time.
And also, Mr. Clement, we don't need to open every door. See, part of the problem is all the doors are open. You know, what I'm talking about is maybe on each campus, 5 or 6 doors where you have to go in, where you high traffic area and use the key entry. All other doors should only be used when exiting. So that's something that we need to look at. And I think the original proposal was for all doors. They did an extensive.
And listen, y'all
Right,
brought the high
we don't
school. That
need
was
every door.
like just in the ROTC building, there's 4 doors. I mean, just in that one building, which is a very small part of the campus. So what I'm saying is that was the entire exterior going out, where every door had a locking mechanism. But again, once you start creating the perimeter and fencing and whatever else, but there are some schools that can benefit from it now by locking the doors and teaching the children to flow in a certain pattern, if that makes sense to you. So that would be the toughest thing, is to make sure where instead of just letting kids just go where they want, you'd have to go, hey, this is the entry and this is the exit door. And that way the children flow in one way and out one way. But again, that's just communication with the principals.
Makes sense.
Thank you. My last announcement, I just want to say we're celebrating my mother's 75th birthday. So,
Oh, happy birthday to her,
this
yeah.
weekend.
Well,
So
happy
we're going to have a
birthday
Good
for
Friday
on behalf of
celebration
us.
and a Saturday, and we're going to praise God on Sunday too. So we're going to have a good weekend. So, thank you.
Good job.
Yes, sir. Yeah. All right, need a motion to adjourn. Move on, Mr. Lewis. Ms. Cooney, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.